about the type of stones. And urinary pH. Urinary pH higher than the 7.6 means it is turning into the alkaline. Usually, ureasplitic bacteria can be observed. Means bacteriological examination, culture and culture can be done. And renal functions test can be done. Renal functions, serum creatinine and blood urea functions. If we know assess the individual kidney functions, we can go to the IVU, intravenous urogram, and radiographic investigations, right X-ray, KEB X-ray is done, and ultrasonography of the abdomen and pelvis can be done. CT scan is not necessary, but in other cases also can be done. Wherever necessary, if necessary, CT scan to be done. Cystoscopy is done wherever necessary. And treatment depend upon the treatment management, conservative management, surgical treatment, and modern methods of removal of the stones. And we have to do prevention of the reoccurrence. In conservative treatment, if the stones is smaller in size, not producing any signs and symptoms, even it is produced, it can be manageable by the clinical management. Then we can try for the conservative treatment. If the person is elderly person and it is not causing any acute illness, so it can be managed. Surgical treatment means when the failure of the conservative management, if the pain is recurrently causing acute conditions, the any progressive damage of the kidney or any other structures in the urinary system, the urinary passage is fully obstructed in case of Stogorn calculus. So the surgery can be done, pyelolithotomy or nephrolithotomy, partial nephrectomy and nephrostomy. These are all the surgical management to be done. And modern method of stone removal means Tornia basket method of removing the stone, percutaneous nephrolithotomy, ESWL, extracorporeal shockwave lithotripsy. These are all the modern methods we are using. Modern methods also we are trying if we failed in the conservative management, in the clinical management. So nowadays, whenever the stone is detected, they are subjected into the modern method of removal of the stones. It should not be done in ethical practice. So ethical practice until lithotriptic agents and some does and don'ts in food habits to be advised for the patients. And after removal of the stone also, there is a chances of recurring of the stones. There is a urolithiasis proverb is there, means once a stone, ever a stone. Means once a person is affected by the stone, urinary stone, frequently the person is affecting by the urinary stones. So he has to take care of the parents. Means he himself following the Patya Aharas, and also doctor also educate the person how to avoid the reoccurrence of the stone. And some foods to be avoided. Which are the foods are to be avoided? Means the rich in oxalate contains foods, especially palak and cashew nuts, tomato seeds and tomatoes. These are all rich in oxalates. It should be cauliflower. It should be avoided. Other black grapes, cucumber, and mushroom, chiku. These are all to be avoided. Brinjal is also to be avoided, and red meat contains purine, so red meat is also to be avoided. Cauliflower, pumpkin, cashew nut, cauliflower is over. Tomato, palak, mushroom, these are to be avoided. It's excessive intake of milk or calcium content food to be avoided. And what are the foods are advised? Tender coconut water, horse gram kulatta, corn silk tea. Corn, sweet corn or corn. While removing the corn, there is silk is coming out. We have to cut it into small pieces and make a decoction or pata, and it is to be consumed. Corn silk tea. And pineapple is very useful. Almond is also useful. Carrot is useful. Lemon and even Ikshurasa is also helpful. Kulatta is most beneficial. So many patients get expelled the urinary stones, smaller size of stones, gravels, after drinking of the decoction of the kulatta. Kulatta is to be cleaned and soaked in pure drinking water. In the next day, that water is to be consumed. Then the kulatta, soaked kulatta, advise the patient to make it kashaya, and he has to drink the kashaya. Or for making sambar also they may use. Then my clinical practice, I am having so many success stories, especially in urolithiasis. Shitivaruka bija churna, I am using half spoon PD dose in plain water or any kulatta kashaya or corn silk tea. We have to educate the patient how to make, how to use these kashayas. And also Tilapa Marga Kadali Palasha Kshara. Tilakshara, the plain Tilakshara is also very useful. If the Tilapa Marga Kadali Palasha, it is also very useful. And it should be taken in sheep urine. How you are, where you are searching sheep? Means for that thin cotton cloth in the size of handkerchief size, the cotton cloth to be taken. It is dipped in the sheep's urine. Means once in a year you may practice this one. The clean cloth, cotton cloth is soaked in the sheep urine and it is made dry in the shed. After that, once again the same cloth is used to soak in the sheep urine throughout the night. In the day, don't squeeze it. In the daytime, you have to hang to dry itself in the shadow. The procedure is to be continued for 7 times or 10 times or 21 times. Means as much as possible you have to make it. After complete drying of that cloth, it should be kept in a glass bottle. So whenever we can use, take one dry, means previously soaked with the mutra of the sheep, and it is to be wetted with the clean drinking water, and it is to be squeezed. It is to be collected. That is to be used for taking of the Kshara. So that is very useful. And also Gokshura Churna is also very useful. And Chandraprabhavati, means we have to educate the patient. We have to treat the pain. Always I am advising the patient to keep the Spasmopraxone or cyclopam tablet in their wallet. It's whenever the patient is having pain, severe pain, they have to take one cyclopam tablet, because ureteric stones are very agonizing. When the person is having pain, means when it is stuck up or when the stone is attempt to pass down, at the time patient is having pain. So Paschimottanasana is helpful for the urinary stones or renal stones. Even the patient is having pain, if they do Paschimottanasana, pain is get relieved for some time. And we have to treat the symptomatic treatment. And along with the above said Shitivaraka Bija Churna, Tilapa Marga Kadali Palashakshara with the sheep urine, you can also use some homeopathy drugs, means Recvec R27 presently I am using, and Pereria Breva I am using, or clear stones from the SBL pharma, that is also useful. And Hajrul Yahud Basma or Yavakshara is also very useful. These are all the helpful for the benefit of the patients. So we don't know the composition of the stones by clinical management. So the management of urinary stones is very challenging to every practitioner. So we have to advise the patient thoroughly. Means they depend upon the nature of the stone. So passing of the stone is also depend upon that. So we have to wait for that. It takes 3 months or 6 months or 1 month. Within 1 month, some patients are get relieved from the stone. So depend upon the stone and size of the stone, location of the stone, and composition of the stone. The treatment is varies from person to person. So we have to educate about the stone and about their patya apatyas and about the drug, means the kashayas, Arnala kashaya or Yavanala kashaya, to be advised Kulatta kashaya, corn silk tea, Gokshura or Punarnava. Means advise the patient to drink plenty of water and not to take concentrated tea or any other beverages. And it's a good habit to drink a big cup of water while going to the bed. and also not to without the urge of defecation or maturation. Even defecation, if they without the urge of defecation, that also causes passing of the stone, and that also causes the formation of the stone. Even the person is without the urge of maturation, that also causes of formation of the hemorrhoids. It gives continuous pressure on the perineal region, so it also causes of the hemorrhoids. So advise the patient thoroughly, educate the patient. This is the my success of the clinical practice in urolithiasis. I'm also having failures in some patients, and failures are very less. So if we educate, the nature itself helps to pass out of the stones. And also we can use the hydrotherapy or flush out therapy. Flush out therapy means we have to catheterization, we have to put the catheter first. After that, we have to give fast IV drip, usually 5% dextrose in non-diabetic person. After fast IV drip of 3 bottles, we have to give Lasix. So it causes forceful evacuation of the urine. So smaller size stones are passing through the flush out therapy or hydrotherapy. It is to be practiced 3 consecutive days. So usually smaller size stones are usually passing through the flush out therapy, or otherwise, if we are not supposed to do IV fluids, advise the patient to drink plenty of water, 2 liters of water. Then advise to take the Lasix tablet in the daytime. So it causes frequency of maturation. So the smaller size stones will pass out. If you are not using Lasix tablet, then instead of drinking water, you are advised to drink 1 liter or 1.5 liter of tender coconut water. It is natural diuretic. The person is used to visit the urinals. So this also gets large, smaller size of the stones are gets stuck in the natural pathways. It can be dislodged. When it is gets dislodged, then it is usually passing out through the urethra, and stones are usually passing in the females, and formation of the stone also very less because of hormonal influence, estrogen hormone influence, and also nature of the urinary tract, and urethra is straight, elongate, straight and wide. So any smaller size stones are usually passing out in females. So depend upon the nature of the urinary tract, the males are more prone to affected, and also the hormonal effect also causes formation of the stone, and nature of work of males is also helps in the formation of the stones, usually outside, and hard work is carried out by the males. And geographic locations also causes incidence of stones, and altered food habits and sedentary lifestyle, and without the urge of maturation. In various reasons, human beings are withholding the urge of maturation. So that also the incidence is increased for the formation of the stones. Okay, these are all the small brief recall about the management of the urolithiasis or Mootrashmari. Any doubts and clarifications?
Thank you, sir, for an enlightening and entertaining session about Mootrashmari. We are grateful for the time and effort you took to share your thoughts and experiences with us. Now we'll be moving on to the question and answer session. A small reminder to the delegates, kindly put your queries in the chat box in your control panel. So can we start the question session? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Can we start this question answer session, sir?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Sir, is it audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, sir. Can we start the question and answer session?
Okay.
Okay, so the first question raised is, normally up to which sized stone can be managed by clinical oral treatment?
What?
So normally up to which sized stone can be managed by oral treatment?
Yeah, up to 10 mm of stones means if any type size of the stone in the urinary system means it is not obstructed, we can try. If it is not causing agonizing pain, it is manageable, we can manage. Means any stone is obstructing the urinary passages, then we are trying in limited period. Means in up to 10 mm of stones means we have to educate the patient to use all the medicines, and they have to follow the patya, ahara, viharas. So it helps to disintegrate of the stone. So after disintegration, the stone size becoming small. It is not happening in 15 days or 1 week. It takes months together, and depend upon the composition of the stone, the disintegration is also helpful. If the person is having oxalate stones, means oxalate stones are very hard, and even triple phosphates are also very hard in nature. So uric acid stones are very smooth and dissolves in we can manage. Means if it is if it is not agonizing, if it is not very problematic, if it is not causing any hydronephrosis, means especially in case of kidney stone, even it is in 12 mm or 14 mm stones, it is not causing any obstruction. Even the 15 mm stones we can also try.
Okay,
so
sir.
Depend upon the blockage, we can select the patient. Okay. In renal stones, even 15 mm stones can also be tried in the clinical management, but not in the ureteric stones. In the bladder stone also we can take up for the clinical management. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
I think the person arises the question is clear.
Yes, sir. So the next question is, what is the role of Avapedaka Ghrutam in Ashmiri, and when and how much Ghrutam can be given?
What?
What is the role of Avapedaka Ghrudapanam in Ashmiri, when and how much of the Ghrutam can be given?
Usually I am not using Ghruta. Okay.
Okay,
The
sir.
normal quantity of Gruta can be used. So selection of the drug is most important. Depend upon the various reasons we are selecting the drug, depending upon the type of stones, depend upon the availability, depend upon, in some cases, depend upon the pocket of the patient also, we can able to select the drug, because in clinical practice we come across various type of patients. So
Okay. Mm.
usually I am not using any Grutas. So normal Gruta advise, what are the advisable Gruta, it can be used.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
10 to 15 ml Gruta can be advised. Okay.
Okay, sir. So next question is, some Vaidyas are using Arka for Ashmari. What is your experience regarding that, sir?
Arka means nothing but a decoctions. Means decoction distillery process. It can be used, no problem. Instead of kashayam, it can be used. If kashaya also used, it is also beneficial.
Oh, okay, sir.
It is a modified form of patam. Okay, it is a distillery process, Arka. It can also be used, no problem.
Okay, sir. So next question is, what is the role of Uttara Basti in Ashmari?
Uttara Basti in Ashmari, it is not helpful in ureteric stones and also in the renal stones.
Oh, okay, sir.
In vesical stones, it can be helpful. So the efficacy of Uttara Basti is usually limited. Usually stones are formed in the kidney. So Uttara Basti is helpful in the irrigation of the bladder and also in the smaller size of the vesical calculus. It is helpful.
Okay.
But it is not helpful in the ureteric stones or the renal calculus. Okay.
Okay, sir. So next question is, some Vaidyas use lepa on the back area. Please show some light, and what is the type of lepa we can use? Sir?
Pardon?
Sir, some Vaidyas are using lepa on the backside. Hello, sir. Is it audible? So the question is, some Vaidyas are using lepa on the backside area. So can you throw some light, and what is the type of lepa we can use?
I am not aware of that lepa.
Okay, sir.
Some maybe practiced in folklore, but it is not mentioned in text, any lepas. Okay. Any Vedanahara lepa or Mutrala drugs can be used. But the external application is not helpful in urolithiasis. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Internal, because the external application is not so much helpful as per my knowledge. But it can be practiced, and so many persons are practiced, even the pist of the pigeon.
Okay. Okay, sir. Yes. So next question is, how to treat hydronephrosis?
How to treat hydronephrosis? Hydronephrosis is caused due to obstruction. If the obstruction is there, then it causes hydronephrosis proximal to the obstruction. So if we use the hydrotherapy, it can be used, means the flush out therapy in smaller size stone, and even it remains for a prolonged period, it can be a modern method of removal of the stone is done, either by, if it is stuck in the ureter, the Dornier basket method of removal of the stone is done.
Okay.
So any obstruction is to be removed either by oral drugs. If it is failed, then the other surgical removal of the stone. So usually the smaller size stones, usually where the obstruction is happening, means in the renal pelvis or in the ureter. In the ureter, 5 anatomical narrowings of the ureter, or in the urinary bladder. In means if the stone is obstructed in the neck of the urinary bladder, at the time only the person is having hydronephrosis, not all the time. So usually majority of the stones are renal stones. So usually the hydronephrosis can be relieved by oral medicines. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Means once the displacement of stone, if it is not passed out of the stone, just displacement of the stone may relieve the hydronephrosis.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
So next question is, what is the Ayurvedic treatment for hematuria in emergency management?
First, we have to understand the hematuria. What are the causes of hematuria? There are so many reasons of hematuria. So what are the general causes of hematuria can be detected first. Any injury to leads also hematuria. Any tumor in the urinary tract can also do hematuria. In Adogata Raktapitta can also lead to hematuria. Any stones in the urinary system or stones in the urinary bladder or any tumor in the urinary bladder also leads to the hematuria. So treat the cause, not the any signs and symptoms. So usually Chandra Prabhavati is helpful, means we have to treat the cause rather than treat the signs and symptoms. Okay. We have to rule out the cause of hematuria. We have to treat the cause.
Okay, sir. So the last question is, what are the indications of Kshara and how we can use here?
Here we are using Paniya Kshara, means the Mrudu Kshara which are used to drink. Paniya Kshara means the Tilakshara or Apamarga Kshara or Kadali Kshara or Palasha Kshara. So many Ksharas are explained. We have to use the particular drug only. Means Prativapas we should not be added. So Mrudu Kshara is prepared and we have to use for the drinking purpose on empty stomach with water or any Anupan. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir, for clearing all our doubts and for taking out time from your busy schedule. I would like to welcome Dr. Veena, Assistant Professor, Department of Shalya Tantram, Ayurveda College, Coimbatore, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yeah, okay. Respected speaker, Prabhudeva sir, and dear delegates, I'm very much honored to convey vote of thanks in this knowledge brightening session. As we all know, it's comparatively very difficult task on treating Ashmari. But our speaker, Dr. Prabhudeva sir, has elaborately and wonderfully explained every point regarding the Ashmari, starting from its manifestation, and shared his valuable experience on treating the same. I convey my heartfelt thanks to you, sir, on behalf of Ayurveda College, Coimbatore, Diksha e-learning, and on my own behalf for a valuable session. Thank you, sir. I extend my gratitude to all the delegates to make this session success, and I owe my thanks to the entire team worked hard behind the curtain to make this possible. Thank you all. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you very much for providing an opportunity. Thank you, the principal, Dr. Sudhir Raj sir, and staff of Ayurveda College, Coimbatore, and participants, and for my principal, Dr. K.C. Das, and all my staff and all my colleagues. Presently, I am working in the college. Thanking you one and all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful session, very informative, and it was very useful for students and even doctors also. Whatever experience you have shared, well, thank you once again, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, providing an opportunity to share
Okay.
my views. Okay, thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. By that, we have come to the end of today's session. Our next session will be conducted on the 23rd of September on the topic Beginner's Guide to Scientific Publishing by Dr. Delvin T. Robin, Associate Professor, Amruta School of Ayurveda. For further details on our upcoming session, stay connected with us in all our social media. I thank each and every one of you for your patience. Hope you all have a good evening. Thank you.